Welcome to Goalside, football fans. Happy to have you back. Today, we're going to talk about Yaya Toure. Toure had a rich playing career where he established himself as one of the best midfielders of the generation. However, ever since leaving Barcelona, he always had a beef with Pep Guardiola. But why? We'll try to answer that question in this video and explain some of the motives behind Toure's hatred for Pep Guardiola. The roots of this story go back all the way to 2007. This is when Yaya Toure, a member of Monaco, decided to join Barcelona. At the time, Barcelona were in the Champions League and La Liga winners from 2006, and the demands were huge from the new signings. This didn't affect Toure negatively, given that he proved his worth right from the get-go, playing some great football as the defensive midfielder. He wasn't just any defensive midfielder. Unlike most players in his position, Toure was more than adept at going forward and creating from deep from his team. He was a unique player at the time, and everyone saw it. Even though Toure played great, Barcelona failed to win any big trophies 2 seasons in a row. This is what prompted Barca to appoint Pep Guardiola as the club's manager in 2008. And then it all started. Pep Guardiola arrived in Blaugrana with a vision. He wanted to play strict positional football relying on patience and ball possession above everything else. For this, he wanted fully disciplined players who were ready to submit their skills to Pep's demands, even if it meant some of them remained unutilized. Yaya Toure looked back on this years later, where he complained about Pep's vision of football. Pep likes to dominate and wants to have obedient players who lick his hands, said Toure. I do not like this kind of relationship. I respect my coach, but I am not his thing. Like all players, I have bickered with my coaches, but at a certain point, men who do not understand each other reconcile. This is not possible with Pep, who is very rigid. The other players will never admit it publicly, but some have already told me that they ended up hating him because he manipulates and plays a lot with your head. However, Pep's philosophy proved to be a success because Barcelona won all 6 trophies in 2009 under his command. Yaya Toure, while still playing a lot, wasn't a surefire starter in most of the important matches. Much more than playing in his natural defensive midfielder role, Toure would be deployed as a center back, filling in for any injuries or suspensions. 2 seasons went by, and the duo's relationship got worse and worse. This prompted Toure to look for a move away from Barca. Manchester City were interested, and they signed the midfielder in the summer of 2010. Yaya Toure became almost a legend at the Etihad, where he earned the fans' trust while playing a key role in City's numerous trophy runs, marking the best years in the history of the club. And then in 2016, Pep Guardiola knocked on the door. The fairy tale was over for Yaya Toure. In Guardiola's first season at City, Toure played fewer matches than he did in any of the seasons since his arrival to Manchester. This was a clear sign from Pep that he wants Toure out of the club, given their previous relationship and the fact that the midfielder was aging and didn't fit Guardiola's vision once again. Toure lasted the 2017-18 season, but it was clear it was only a courtesy for his loyal service to the club and that Pep Guardiola wanted him out as soon as possible. The player felt the tension between him and Pep. Talking about his farewell season, Toure would later claim, I have the impression that Pep, without acknowledgement or respect, did everything to spoil my last season. It hurts when you spent 8 years in a club. He stole my farewells with City, a club where the fans are beautiful. I would have liked to leave with emotion of this club as I could Iniesta or Buffon, but Pep prevented me. Perhaps a similar story happened with Samuel Eto's back in 2008. Pep deemed Eto's as too unpredictable and undisciplined to succeed in his system. However, the striker remained in Barca in the 2008-09 season and helped the team tremendously as they won everything there was. Only this time around, Toure wasn't as big of a factor, so after finally leaving the club, he had some choice words for Pep Guardiola. Not only did he slam his footballing vision, but Yaya Toure claimed Guardiola was racist towards African players. He insists he has no problem with black players because he is too intelligent to be caught out. But when you realize that he has problems with Africans wherever he goes, I ask myself, he'll never admit it, but the day he will line up a team in which we find 5 Africans, not naturalized, I promise I'll send him a cake. Yaya Toure really didn't like Pep by the end of his Manchester City career because he ranted about the Spaniard a lot, adding, I think I was dealing with someone who just wanted revenge on me. I don't know why, but I have the impression that he was jealous of me, that he took me for a rival. There you have it. We always looked at each other weirdly. He was spinning around me without saying anything, watching me, gauging me, but not talking to me. Yet he knows I speak Catalan, Spanish, and English. It should be enough to communicate, but apparently no. Every time we passed each other, he seemed embarrassed, as if I made him a little self-conscious, as if also he had understood that I knew him perfectly. A complicated relationship where heavy words were thrown in Pep's way, but the manager remained calm. Guardiola confirmed multiple times he has no problems with African players whatsoever. However, it does seem like Yaya Toure was looking for an excuse and that he was hurt by the fact Guardiola didn't approve his skill set. Whatever the case may be, the Yaya Toure and Pep Guardiola relationship remains one of the most complicated in the footballing world.